Good morning, guys. I hope everyone's doing fine. Today I want to reflect on the past year. I have actually been in the Philippines here since March 17th, 2023. So it's a little over a year. What's changed? Am I going to stay? Do I like it? Etc. I think I reflected before on the weather situation. I was having a really difficult time with the weather, with the humidity. Having been raised in dry part of Canada, right in central Manitoba, actually a little northern, and ending up in Kingman, Arizona, which is high desert and very dry, average 12% humidity. So I step into like 85% average humidity here in the Philippines. Did I adjust? Well, I think, as others have mentioned, it takes about a year just to contend with the humidity. I'm not so sure that you ever get like really used to it. You try to avoid it with air conditioning, but there is a point to which you get acclimated even to the humidity. And again, it's nothing you particularly enjoy. If there's no breeze, last night I was at the boulevard just for a little bit of time. Thought there was going to be a parade or something there, and there wasn't. But very little breeze, pretty high humidity down there last night. So that's something you need to think about. If you can't handle humidity, well, you might not consider moving here if that was your intention. However, a lot of the southern states are really humid. Even Midwest, where I lived for 11 years, is humid. In Iowa, for example. Lived in Florida for 14 years, and that was very humid, similar to this climate here. Can't say it was worse or better, really, perhaps the same. Some have suggested that it's not as bad as Florida humidity, but I guess each has his own perception of and ability to cope with different kinds of weather. So yes, I've acclimated to a certain extent, and it isn't an issue where it would require me to move. I intend on staying here in the Philippines unless unforeseen recommendation from the embassy to vacate because of a safety situation. So as far as weather concerned, you can get used to it to a certain extent. The other thing was housing. I had an issue with the concrete and the block housing. I lived on by the sea in Mindanao, and that was all block and concrete, possibly more concrete. And the side of the place faced south, so it heated up and it stayed very warm all evening. So what you get is a convection effect from block and concrete. If that's, I don't know if you can escape that, because everything here is block and concrete, and for a good reason, I suppose. It lasts longer, is what the natives say. In the case of earthquake, I know that it cracks up pretty good. We had two minor tremors right there where we were in Mindanao, and there were very obvious and, to me, significant cracks. in the walls, exterior, interior. So I can't imagine, at least I wouldn't want to be a victim of a breakdown of concrete above you, around you, in the case of a very severe earthquake, which is possible. May I say that, as far as I'm understanding, Palawan, the island of Palawan to the west, is the only island in the Philippines that is habitable islands that do not have a fault line. Doesn't have a fault line, has never experienced an earthquake. So not to say that there won't be future ones, but that's the only island without fault lines. I have reasons why I wouldn't move there. Very beautiful place to visit, though, for sure. But concrete's an issue. I know some expats come here, and one particularly, he's in just somewhere around Dipolog, and he built a house mostly of, well, he had cement pillars because his land was sloped, and but he went wood, and he used selignum, and it penetrates the wood and is supposed to keep termites away indefinitely. So it depends on what kind of wood also. Termites tend to love the some species, and others like walnut, it lasts a lot longer. Or should I say mahogany, I'm sorry, because there's more mahogany here than anything. So that I couldn't get adjusted to that. I mean, when you come in a house, it's already hot outside and it's warmer inside. And if your air isn't adequate, it's not pleasant whatsoever. It just isn't. So, so much for concrete. The other nuance, among others, is traffic. Well, yeah, traffic, I mean, you can't avoid it. I don't care where you are in the Philippines, with no, or a very limited number of street lights, and those you'll find in the city. Otherwise, it's a free-for-all. So you come into an intersection, and you just nose into an opening. That's what they do. And hopefully there's a motorbike beside you that's a little more progressive, and he'll nose further in, and you just follow his lead. And of course, traffic does stop at that point for you. It's a different ball game here as far as driving concerns. So that was quite an adjustment. I started to drive just about 3 months after arrival. So I'm pretty much used to it now, but it can be very frustrating still. But I'm getting a handle on it. So just take care. Just be very careful if you're driving or intend to drive. The drivers, well, that's another issue. Again, there's no such thing as, in my mind, respect on the roads. None, zero. Or consideration, zero. They'll nose in, they'll cut you off very sharply. That's just how it is here. My understanding is that there are drivers courses that you can take to learn to drive, but also they focus on you getting your license, not on how you should drive. There's no etiquette whatsoever on the road. So that's a nuance that you might have issues with. If you don't drive, you might not even notice. But especially here in Dumaguete, it's very you get up into an intersection and you scratch your head and wonder, well, how am I going to get through this? But in short order, there'll be one or two bikes on each side of you, and they start nosing, and you just follow their lead, and you'll make it. It's just a matter of patience, and they seem to have a lot of patience for themselves. I've seen very few accidents in a year. I think I've seen 4, and they involved motorbikes and trikes. I did see one jeepney and a motorbike collision. So that may be a number of 5. But in over a year in a very busy area, in Cagayan de Oro area, that was all I saw. So they do give in for each other. Speaking of respect, a senior citizen, if it's their own, they're very much respected. You see family members, like 2 young guys carrying their grandpa around because he no longer can walk. I've seen a lot of consideration there, and it's usually family members. I was in a bank not long ago, and an older guard, he had to be 60, I'm guessing. When I walked in, he tapped me in the shoulder and he says, "Over there, number 6, tell her number 6. And I didn't know where to go. You sit in line. So when teller number 6 was finished with their client, I got up and proceeded to the window. Now there's a young fella that also proceeded to the window, and I had to say, "Excuse me, would you mind, as a senior, would you mind if I go before you?" And he didn't say anything, he just backed up and sat down again. If you don't push yourself forward, don't be arrogant, but if you don't move forward, you will not get the supposed favorable treatment of a senior. I have an SRRV. There are supposed to be discounts with it here and there. I've never seen them. I've seen no consideration any different than if you had a visitor's visa. So that doesn't help me in that respect. What shocked me my first visit here in 2018 was went into a Jollibee. Had never been in one. I just needed some little thing to eat, nothing extravagant. And I was in line. There's about 10 or so people in 2 lines, and this elderly gentleman, well, he still looked like he was in working condition. Seems like he may have he had work clothes on, put it that way. He just marched right to the front and got service like that, and I thought, oh, is that arrogance? Or boy, he's pushy. And then I saw it again, and it's what you have to do here. There's no favoritism if you're a senior. Young people will push past you, and that's just how it is. So as far as respect goes, don't expect too much. Of course, be nice, and they'll respect you for that. They're nice people. Otherwise, they're cordial and friendly and respectful to a point. But there's a kind of respect, at least that I grew up with, that I don't see here. So that could be a challenge for some. And you certainly don't want to be pushy, because then you've got some enemies immediately. So that's regarding respect. Now food, well, you could love it, or if you're not up on proper diet at your age, then you might just enjoy everything. The downside is that they tend to put sugar in everything, salt and sugar. And well, you wonder why so many young people here have diabetes, and so many die in their 50s of diabetes and other complications that follow, kidney disease, heart disease, etc., etc. Well, there's a reason for that. So food can be an issue for you. If you don't cook yourself, you might subject yourself to for a lot of fried foods, because that's what they do. They're heavy on frying. And by the way, they don't throw the oil away after. They reuse it several times. They never throw oil away. Now those with a little more, at least that's in the province. Those with a little more money, perhaps they do. I don't know. I haven't been in their kitchens, but otherwise, I've spoken to them, and no, they don't. They reuse this rancid, trans fat oil over and over again. Now, what about restaurants? Do you think that they change their oil out often or every time? I doubt it. Of course, you can say the same for American fast food places. They reuse their oil to a certain extent. That's why, if you're health conscious at all, food could be an issue. But excuse me, there is an abundance of fresh vegetables, and I mean, steaming is a real. That's what I prefer, and it's good, delicious, easy to do, and that's an option for you. Otherwise, restaurants, you have to be careful, again, if you're health conscious, and just have to be careful. And I don't know how health conscious you are, and I'm not suggesting that you should be. Each of us has a decision to make as it relates to our health, so we'll just leave it at that. Services such as banking, you can wait. Last time I was in a bank to close an account, it was an hour and 45 minutes, an hour and 40 actually, just after I got, the start of my time period of service, an hour and 40 before I got out of there, and that was with Land Bank. BPI, they're very busy, but their service is super in my view. But services in general, you are going to see quite a difference. The system is antiquated. The paperwork galore. I mean, they have some things online. They have your account online and all. And they do make some entries, but I mean, there's so much paperwork to get cashed out of an account. There's so much paperwork in exchanging money. That is at a bank. So you need to learn some patience there, and that's difficult for some of us when we're so used to a teller just punching numbers and changing addresses and anything online, and you're out of there in less than 10 minutes. So it's quite an adjustment. So, and yes, we're retired, so what's the hurry, right? So, but that might be, and I'm getting used to that. I had a little issue with that at the start. And I realized that you're not changing anything, and your attitude, a negative attitude, will take you down, and you'll get frustrated, and you'll get stressed, and then you'll leave because of this, that, or the other thing. So certainly there is adjustment to living here, and it's what you make it. It's what you make it is what it'll be for you, and you can enjoy it or hate it. Right now I'm in the shade. It's, I don't know, 6 a.m. There's sun behind me, and it's too hot. So I'm enjoying a tiny wee bit of a breeze right here. And I'm guessing it's about 75 degrees with the breeze. So that is a rundown of my year and a month here in the Philippines. And yes, I intend on staying unless some embassy suggestions to move on. Hopefully this country remains in peace, and we're not bothered. Otherwise, if you have any questions, please send them and we'll respond. I'm sure other expats will respond as well and give their opinions. I mean, everybody experiences something different when you get here. It's not all the same. Relative to budgets and all that, everybody's so different. And the budget will come up in probably next month because I'm no longer building that house in Mindanao, and so I'm going to have some time here to add some numbers together. So appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much for subscribing. I really appreciate that. It helps the channel. It's free to you. Thanks for sharing and viewing especially. And with that, I'll close it out. And until next time, take care. Bye now.